Well, if everyone can look back to yesterday and remember the president, he took a little bit of a combative tone as he outlined some of the things he wants to do. So here's a quick recap.
We cannot mistake absolutism for principle, or substitute spectacle for politics, or treat name-calling as reasoned debate. We must act knowing that our work will be imperfect.
Yeah, that was President Obama at his inauguration, his second inauguration yesterday. And Jerry, he's striking a bit of a combative tone, but he really is prepared to fight for the things he wants to do, his to-do list, right? That's what you're writing in this week's Capital Journal, right?
Right, and I think the difference between 4 years ago is fairly striking. You know, 4 years ago there was this perception that Barack Obama might be a post-partisan president, might be the kind of president who would rise above the system and kind of put an end to typical Washington petty partisan squabbling. Well, I don't think anybody views the presidency that now, not Barack Obama's and maybe nobody's. And so what he really was saying yesterday was, I've got an agenda. I didn't get around to all those items in the first term. I'm going to tackle them now. Conservatives are not going to like them. Some of it's going to be seen as a liberal agenda, but I'm going to go to bat for that. And I'm not pretending we're all going to come together in some kumbaya agreement. I'm going to make the case for it. And he wasn't saying I'm going to fight for it. He was saying let's all come together. But implicit is this kind of agenda will require some fighting.
And three of the items that he really wants to fight for: climate moves on climate change, gay rights, and immigration reform. Which of those do you think he will have the easiest time with?
Well, look, I think there's going to be an immigration reform bill of some kind. I think the battling on that is over what are the details, not whether to do that or not. So there's a lot of work to be done, but I'm not sure how heavy the fighting is going to be. I think climate change is the one that's going to be tough, and so tough, in fact, that he may do some of the things he wants to do, not by seeking legislation, but by doing what he can through executive orders, through the EPA, those sorts of things, because there really is not a consensus in Congress or probably in the country about how to deal with climate change, how big a problem it is, how urgent it is, and what kind of steps are justified in a tough economic environment.
Now, on the gay rights, that could be a battle with some of the states. You would think that the easy route there would be to say, okay, the states decide individually and not leave it up to the federal government.
Well, not just the easy route, maybe the only route. And I think that's one of those where I think the president's role, if he wants to advance the cause of gay rights, is to use the bully pulpit of the White House to speak to the issue, to try to persuade people, because on the federal level there's not all that much remaining to be done. The outstanding issues, as you suggest, really have to do with gay marriage, and that's principally an issue that's being decided state by state. That's the role of the president. That's why I don't think it's going to produce huge fights in Washington.
Okay, it'll be very interesting. It sounds like we're going to have a lot to write about and talk about over the next 4 years. Thank you very much, Jerry Seib.